Throw motion.
You see the two players playing drastically different lines. Carolyn crossing 14, Kelly playing 20-21. That was early in the match. Right now, I think Kelly is too deep. She's about 5 deeper than Carolyn. She needs to be playing 2 to 3 right of where she is right now, which puts her just inside of Carolyn. Carolyn, now according to Dell, probably needs to go to a weaker ball that clears the front easier and allows her to get right up against that spot they built in the first game.
Well, there are signs for both bowlers off to the bowler's left. There's Carolyn's cat's data.
Again, she softened up just a touch from before. Now Kelly is at 20. Again, I think she's a couple boards too deep. She needs to firm up and get closer to where Carolyn is and use the hook that Carolyn's creating on the lane.
Stubborn 7-pin this time.
Carolyn, roll it off your hand.
Talking to herself a little bit.
She's saying she needs to get it off her hand better. I think she's thrown 6 really good shots, and she's thrown them about with 3 different hand position changes, and none of them have worked yet.
So what does that do to you mentally? I mean, what are you starting to think about when this is happening?
Well, now you have to think about making a ball change. It's really the last thing you want to do in the middle of a match because it's an uncertain thing. But she's thrown them in practice. She knows what the difference between the two are. She's one of the best in the world at managing her equipment around her game as well and her tools. This would be the time to pull the trigger while Kelly's still kind of searching to figure out carry as well.
Now, these bowlers were going through anywhere from 8 to 10, sometimes even as many as a dozen balls in qualifying. How many do you normally bring to a show?
If you get past 3 or 4, you're in pretty big trouble. You think 4 down the prayer and get it down to 2 by the time you start the match with just 1 and a backup plan.
And crossed high and leaves a nasty 4-7-10 split.
Well, I've been here before. You start trying to make a ball strike, and pretty soon it checks on you, and you're ended up with a split. Cuts right through. 2-pin goes left. 4-7-10. She's really in a position where it's probably worth it to take a shot at making this.
Nope, a little heavy, and that'll leave her with an open frame, her first in this game. She had an open in the second game in her opening frame against Clara Guerrero. So now Kelly with an opportunity here. Neither player had really seized this match. This is the first real opening. Crossed over for a rather inelegant strike, but it's still a strike.
Well, she did the opposite of what I thought. She chose to go left and try and catch a little more and go around it, hoping for some push right there. But there just hasn't been anybody in there on this flat pattern. They're just too difficult yet. She has to go where the other play has happened on the lane and use that to her advantage.
Dorin-Ballard preferring not to watch. She got everything out of that ball she asked for. Roll, carry, the whole bit. And right after that, you'll notice Carolyn went over to her area and has brought out a different ball, Chris.
Kelly here, as you watch it come at you, she has moved left and she is just catching a handful of it now, trying to push it across the head pin and use all of that power to mix the pins up. It's going to be difficult for her to get the ball to go through the pins a lot, but she might be able to catch a couple of doubles here and force Carolyn to strike out.
So is this a big gamble here?
It's worth it right now. She has no choice, down 23 pins.
Come on!
Bang. Let's go to Kathy Dorin-Lizzie for an ITRC equipment report.
Well, it's so hard, like Chris said, to change balls in the middle of a match when you're in the pocket, but she did. She opted to go from the wild card, which is a rolly, even ball, to the C system 2.5, which gives her a little more length and recovery. Excellent choice.
Certainly proves it there. Thank you, Kathy. The ITRC Pro Shop Equipment Report. And there you see the max scores possible. So Carolyn needs another strike to put any kind of pressure on Kelly. And you could tell terrible, and I'll leave that to you to agree with her or not. I don't think I'm in a position to do that, but that was not her best shot.
Well, Carolyn is very good at being self-accountable. And this one, she rolls over the top. You can see by her hand. When she goes up through it, it rolls really well. Here she gets around on the side of it, and her elbow flies a little bit. Ball's right at target, gets too far down lane. Too demanding a pattern to get away with that shot.
Shot.
Covers that 2-4-5 without a problem, but now Kelly Kulick in position here with the foundation frame with that 23-pin advantage and working on a double. Ringing 10-pin again. We've had at least a half a dozen of those tonight.
It has been tough to carry once that oil has gotten down the lane. But her move has turned out to be pretty good. She's in around 22 now. Pushes that one across the head pin much better. And actually gets it to go up through the pins. Excellent, excellent shot. Not much reward.
Easily covers the single pin spare.
And with a 22-pin lead, she just needs a mark in the 10th frame. A good count mark in the 10th frame.
Liz Johnson standing by off to our broadcast right. The #1 seed take on the winner. At the moment, it looks like we're going to have a battle between 1 and 2.
Time.
Uh-oh. Oh, wow.
How ironic would that have been? After watching the Queens 2 weeks ago, when Missy Bellander needed a mark to win, Kelly almost does the exact same thing to give Carolyn an opportunity.
Yep, that 7-10 knocked Missy out and allowed Kelly to advance and go on to win the Queens. Cover this, and Kelly Kulick will move on. Carolyn Dorin-Ballard, a great run, a tremendous tournament, won over 20 matches, and will finish with a 2-1 record tonight. She goes to third. Kelly Kulick and Liz Johnson, a tremendous championship match. Kim Terrell-Kearney, Hall of Famer and a champion in her own right, and the Medford Meteor, Marshall Holman. They'll be on our set shortly when we come back to Arlington, Texas, and the U.S. Women's Open.